All right, first task is SSA is officially covered. Look at me go. It's been a long time since I've done this, but today's going to be a great meeting. I am really excited to hear more about everyone's product stories. This might be my favorite part of product management. And I don't even have the agenda up. So I think I introduced the president first, right? Is that what I do? All right. Today's president is Erica. Erica's joining us today. So Erica, take it away.
Thank you, Lori. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to welcome to our March 13th meeting. And we're going to learn more about everybody's product management story today. Just a little bit of a club business today. Remember, please, that our dues are due. They past due. If you haven't clicked that submit button, please do that today. Help Rosie out and help us remain in good standing as a club. The Women in Product Conference is May 10th through 11th, just a reminder. If you didn't see my announcements that I just sent out yesterday, there's an application for a scholarship. Thank you, Rosie, for sharing that with everybody. So check it out. Our club is going to get a discount code. Once I have that code, I'll let you guys all know about that. And a friendly reminder that there's some District 101 references. If you weren't aware, we belong to District 101 in California, and they have a podcast, they have a blog, so go check them out, learn a little bit more about our district. Elections will be coming up in May, which seems like that might be far away, but it is not that far away. So if you're interested in being an officer or want to learn more, please reach out. Any of the officers, myself, be happy to talk to you about how being a club officer helps not only the club and not only those in the club grow their careers and reach their goals, but also helps you personally. So it's a very rewarding role. Please consider that. And today, following the meeting, we'll have a club Q&A. So if you have any questions, we'll be around for a little bit. Stop, say hi. Well, you're already here, so stay and say hi, I guess. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our Toastmaster. Oh, I forgot to say hello to our guest, Tiffany. Hello, Tiffany. Welcome back. We're happy to see you. And I hope you enjoy today's meeting. We'll say hi again at the end. Okay, so now without further ado, I'd like to introduce Sarah Gagnon. Sarah is our VP of PR and has been doing a fabulous job filling in that role. She is currently the CRM product manager in government. Being its first PM means Sarah not only builds strategy and roadmap, but also conducts experience vision, continuous discovery, and leads product operations for service designs. Her dream role is director of product. In that capacity, she would create an innovation lab to build robust products and services. And I am certain that Sarah will meet her goals someday and look forward to seeing her do that. All right, Sarah, it's all yours.
Thank you, Madam President. Fellow Toastmasters and guest. It's my privilege to welcome you to today and introduce our theme of the day, your product management story. So how did you get into product? Did you finish your MBA and then intern as a product manager? Did you start as an associate product manager and then learn on the job? Or did you transition from a developer role into product? Personally, I started my journey in construction project management. I was a project controls engineer, which meant that I worked closely with project managers by monitoring and controlling their budgets, their schedules, their contract scope of work. And at one point, I joined a side hustle at work to convert an outdated database to SQL. And from there, the product was further developed to become the heart of our payment processing system. I didn't realize what it was called at the time, but I knew I wanted to do more of that type of work. So fast forward to a hiring event where I exchanged my contact information with someone who was facilitating the event. And one day that same contact posted on LinkedIn that he needed a business analyst who had project controls experience in the construction space. Hello. So weeks later, my new company relocated me to Arizona, and I began as a senior business analyst in research and development for a construction software company. That's how I started. So over the course of 5 years, I transitioned to product owner, then into user experience research, and then finally into product manager. So we all have a story. How well we tell our story can determine whether our cover letter is read and forwarded to a hiring manager, or how well we tell our story can determine if we move to the next round of interviews, or how well we tell our story can even determine if we inspire others at an international product conference. So today is all about you, my lovelies, and your story. So come on, let's share, let's learn and experience. So I'm going to now explain the structure of our meeting, and you can find the agenda in the chat. Our meeting is divided into 3 sections. First is the prepared speech round. Today we'll have Marguerite Osley, Sam Doctor, and Cena Aip. My apologies if I mispronounced your last name, Cena. The second part of the session is the tabletop topics round, where we'll practice impromptu speaking. Richu Chanakasheva is leading this round, and to keep us on our toes, no one knows what the questions are in advance. And to our guests, you are welcome to participate. If you would rather not, please private chat Richu. And then the third and final part of our speech, of the structure, is our evaluation round, in which the prepared speeches will be evaluated by our general evaluator and her team. Now, according to the agenda, this is where our stellar team will introduce their roles. So to that end, I invite Jennifer Ginsberg to the stage to introduce her evaluation team. Jennifer.
We lost her for a second. I just readmitted her.
Otherwise, I can go ahead and just do the introductions if you'd like.
She's here. Jen, can you hear us?
I can. I apologize for that, guys. The Zoom gremlins actually caught up with me too, so I had to leave and come back in. So I apologize for that. It looks like you guys are just now getting into the evaluation piece. So I am the general evaluator for this meeting, which essentially means, during the course of today's meeting, I'm looking out for, hey, here are things that we could do to potentially run a more effective meeting. How well are we doing overall as a club? And then along with my team are going to be 3 evaluators. Those individuals are evaluating individual speeches today. I also have an awe counter. Monique, I don't know, do you want to quickly talk about what you're going to be doing today?
Yes.
For the awe counter?
Yes, hopefully you can hear me as I'm getting internet unstable, but I am the counter today, and my purpose is to note words that are used as crutch, or pause filler for everyone who's speaking today. I will look for things like and, well, but, so, I'll also look for a speaker who is repeating a word or phrase such as I, or this means, this means. And at the end of the meeting, I will report the number of times that each speaker uses these expressions. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Monique. And then Rosie, you are doing double time here today as timer and grammarian. You want to give an overview in terms of the timings for today and then grammarian?
Yeah, so give me a second. So today I'll be serving as the timer, and this is a very crucial role when it comes to ensuring that we are keeping on time. So my background will stay white until the speaker goes to, or until the time goes to 4 minutes, and then it'll turn green. At 5 minutes, it'll turn yellow, and then at 6 minutes, it'll turn red for icebreaker speeches. For other speeches that are timed from 5 to 7 minutes, it'll go green at 5 minutes, 6 at yellow, and then red at 7 minutes. And then similarly for the table topics, it'll be 1 minute green, so you've met the minimum. Yellow will be 1 minute and 30 seconds, and then red at 2 minutes. And then at the end of the meeting, I'll give a report and let everyone know if we stayed within time for each speech. And then for grammarian, the word of the day is tenacity, the quality or fact of being very determined or persistent. I'll use the word of the day in a sentence now. Her tenacity allowed her to overcome all the obstacles she faced on her journey to become a product manager. Awesome. And then back to you, Jennifer.
Awesome. Thank you for that. I am going to also introduce our vote counter and table topics master today. So first with table topics master is going to be Ritu. Want to give an overview of the table topics?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. So as table topics master, I will be asking impromptu questions. And since the theme of today is your product management story, get ready to spend a few moments reflecting on your own journey as a product thinker, doer, leader. So as part of that, the evaluation criteria is something that I will go into at the beginning of the session. But at this moment, just remember that these are impromptu questions, and we are just looking for responses from your own journey. So, and I'll call upon the person who's going to be talking after I say tell you the questions. So stay ready. Back to you, Madam.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And then as part of those table topics, we'll also have Amelia, who will be our vote counter today. So with that, I will turn it back over to our Toastmaster of the day, Sarah, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. So now we're ready to begin our prepared speech portion. And this actually is one of my favorite parts of our meeting. Our first speaker today is Marguerite Ousley, and she is a senior product manager at Nike Valiant Labs. Marguerite started her journey in product in 2011, and she has been a remote product professional since 2015, well before the pandemic. Marguerite is working on her Toastmasters Pathway project called Evaluation and Feedback, and the title of her speech is How I Got into Product Management. With that, please help me welcome Marguerite to the stage.
Thank you for that introduction, Sarah. So when I was about 10 years old, I told my mother I was going to be a writer or editor, make $13,000 a year, and live with her because I was only making $13,000 a year. Obviously, none of that is true today. I love my mother very much, but I was thrilled when I got my own place. I'm very lucky to make more than $13,000 a year, and I'm not a professional writer or editor. Somehow I'm a product manager. Today, I'm going to indulge in telling the story of how I became a product manager. I say indulge because I'm telling it so I can better understand how the themes at the beginning of my journey connect to my current state and the next steps I want to pursue. That said, I hope my story is interesting, especially for aspiring PMs who don't have a technical or business background. I love words, so I studied English in college and became an editor after graduating, specifically an editor of press releases at a company called PR Newswire. Every day, I edited 8 to 10 press releases, addressed customer issues, and attempted to upsell. If you can't tell, I got bored pretty quickly and started looking around for other opportunities. First, I tried switching departments. I worked with different languages in the international and LATAM departments, financial disclosures in the Edgar Filings department, and video press releases in the multimedia department. Then one day, product managers came to visit the newsroom, and I learned about the role for the first time. They asked us editors to share feedback about what we were hearing from customers so they could use it to improve our products. I volunteered to walk them through the process of fulfilling customer orders when no one else was interested. I used that opportunity to ask questions. What did they do all day? How did they decide what products to create or improve? And the very annoying, why does it take so long to make the changes customers repeatedly ask for? I was intrigued, but I didn't decide at that point I wanted to be a product manager. I just kept in touch with those PMs that I met, sending them customer requests and volunteering to do phone surveys for them. And eventually a product manager role opened up at my company, and I told myself, why not? I applied, and to my surprise, I got it. Though I was surprised to win the role because I had a limited understanding of product management, I didn't hesitate to accept it. For those of you who are aspiring product managers, my transition 10 years ago was probably easier than it is today. But I know for a fact that my competition was pretty stiff because we were a small company and I knew them. What put me over the top was that the existing product managers knew me and were happy to recommend me. Even though editing press releases became tedious for me, I learned several things that helped in my first PM role. Reading earnings and new product press releases taught me about business financials and product positioning, something I didn't learn anything about as an English major in college. The customer service aspect of my role taught me how to listen closely to customers and identify their unspoken needs. It also taught me about the different types of customers my company served, from in-house PR teams to small agencies. I used this knowledge early on to create personas for my product. Finally, the attention to detail I honed as an editor served me well as I learned how to describe customer journeys with wireframes, user stories, and acceptance criteria. I can summarize my transition to product management in a few ways. I went from a career in publishing to a career in tech, or I went from orderly, predictable work to helping to organize chaos and continuously learning on the job. Or I went from seeing myself as an employee to seeing myself as a leader, no matter what situation I'm in. There are several things I did during my transition to product management that still serve me as a PM today. I was curious about all the opportunities around me. I had a tenacious bias for action and tried out those opportunities. And I connected with people and asked them about what they do. I still love words and enjoy editing everything I read, from product copy to resumes to blog articles. But I probably won't go back to editing as a career. I love product management too much. And I also love talking about product management. So if anyone would like to chat about anything product related, I'm going to share my Calendly link in the chat, and feel free to schedule some time. Thank you for your time and attention. And back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Marguerite. It was wonderful getting to know you a little bit better. And I will pause for about 2 minutes and 30 seconds for the evaluators' written remarks. And it's our time to open the floor for any questions for Marguerite.
I can kick us off. Marguerite, what is the one thing, if you could change about product management, you'd like to change?
One thing, I mean, I would think, well, diversity is one thing. The diversity of folks who are who get that great opportunity. That's the number one.
Love that answer.
So Marguerite, I love your story because it's very it's one of those things that I feel like there's no clear and direct path to product management. You kind of fell into that space. If there was something, if you were to say like that you did in hindsight, that really got you sort of noticed by those PMs that became your peers, what would you say that was? The thing that really.
Yeah, I think at the time, especially since PR Newswire is not really a tech company, or certainly wasn't then, so nobody cared about too much about their work. So just being curious and actually caring about what they did and helping them out, really, I think, got their attention and got them to give me support when I wanted to transition to the role.
Awesome. Thanks.
Great follow-up questions. Jennifer stole mine. Well, we are at time, so thank you very much, Marguerite. Our second speech is from Sam Doctor, and she is a newly minted associate product manager at a company called Shortcut. Congratulations, Sam. Previously, Sam worked in product and customer insights, and she describes herself as a data-driven storyteller. With that, I would like to invite Sam now to take the stage. Sam?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Mama, we made it. As Sarah just mentioned, Mom doesn't really know what an associate product manager is, but she is excited for me anyways. Fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests, I have been set free. At the end of 2021, last year in December, after several years in adjacent product roles, analyst, researcher within operations, I transitioned to an associate product manager role, and to boot at a company that is full of female product leaders. This type of transition seemed so coveted at the time, a mountain you needed to climb to the peak of making that final transition within your title of including product manager within it. It's really exciting. But folks, what happens once you get in that role? When you land that first position with product manager in your title? This speech is for all of you who are still in that may seem natural or may seem incredibly awkward time in that first role once you finally made it to that first peak after making that big transition and putting in all of that work. Since I started my new role at the beginning of this year, I've learned a lot. I've been adding a lot of those, well, you say notches in my product tool belt, and it's been very exciting. In addition, a lot of these speeches that I've heard in this very Zoom has been a big part of my journey and my learning process. So I thank you all. It's been a few months. The onboarding is coming to a close, and I'm starting to gain some more responsibility, which is really exciting. This is a time to rejoice. A few weeks ago, my supervisor took me to the side via Zoom and said, I need you to start talking to customers. Aim for once or twice a month. This is also a really exciting thing that happened because this was one of those product manager skills, roles, responsibilities that I was really excited to exercise. Having one-on-one conversations with users for the purpose of building something is really exciting to me, gives me energy, like a lot of you, really awesome. However, this is something new. It's something that I've maybe been exposed to in my past roles. It's something that I've assisted in these past roles, or that I've tried to do outside of work to get that practice. But now here's the moment where I'm actually going to interview folks for the purpose of getting information to validate hypotheses and to validate the things that we want to put on the first roadmap that I'm a part of building. All of these new experiences are stacking up. And luckily I have a lot of, again, female role models to lean on, a lot of experienced PMs in my company, outside of my company to talk to. I have Google to reference. But despite all of that rich information that I have, the confidence that I know I can do something like this based off of the experience, there's still that nervousness. There's still that awkwardness that you feel when you're doing something new in a role that is new to you. It is a new step in your career. So folks, I'm telling all of you this because I put together a structure. I'm going to give it a try. And then the next time I come in front of all of you, I'm going to tell you how it went, all the feedback that I received, what I would do differently, all of the different trials after going through this process. And that process is, like I said, I'm going to be aiming to talk to users specifically to help understand what we want to build and put on our team's roadmap, which is, again, brand new. So I took in all of my quote data points from experienced PMs, from the Google, from what we've done at the company in the past. And so I'm going to go through this process. It's a very lengthy structure in my mind, but thank you all for listening to it, because verbalizing it also helps when you're doing it for the first time. So I'm going to interview current users of our tool. First, I need to familiarize myself with all the ways customers communicate to us about the tool already. The second, after that, is identifying questions our team needs to answer to put in front of these users, followed by identifying potential solutions that we'd want to build to also present to these people that I talk with. I want to make a process of recruiting these users to speak with that's seamless, using a Calendly link, talking within our community Slack, followed by determining how many, ideally, users we'd want to talk to validate what we want to build. Once all that's been laid out, outlined, I want to make sure that these interviews, conversations, chats, whatever you'd like to call them, is available for other folks at our company to share the knowledge, to share the information, so that way we can utilize it for any other initiatives that we may have, followed by reviewing all of that input in a way that makes sure that we can input that information into our roadmap effectively. Folks, a lot of times I've come to experienced product managers and asked, how did you become a product manager? How did you get there? What was your journey like? We heard an amazing speech about it just before mine, and that is always super exciting to me. But I need to start thinking about, okay, once you've made that transition, where were all the times that you made a mistake? You felt awkward. You had a very built out structure and needed to talk it out in front of folks to make you feel more confident in it. Hearing about those experiences really gives people the confidence to try something new for the first time and realize that everyone has a first, whether you're an associate product manager or in a different role within your career. So again, thank you for listening to my associate product manager mind. And thank you in the future for listening to my second speech, which will report on how all these interviews went and the feedback that I received. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Sam. Well, I know for myself, I'm looking forward to hearing how your experiment framework develops over the next few weeks. So thank you very much for that. And I just want to make a comment that I think of our Toastmaster Club as sort of a safe incubator for those types of experiments. So thanks for bringing that to the forefront. If we could pause now for 2 minutes and 30 seconds for written remarks from our evaluators. And again, we'll open up the floor for any questions for Sam.
I'm going to kick us off again. Sam, I'm going to kind of selfishly ask you a question, honestly. So I am onboarding and hiring my first product manager as a manager. which is going to be an associate role. So I'm wondering if you would be able to be a user that I could research to learn about your onboarding experience and what's worked and not worked. So maybe I can steal some pro tips from your experience to help my APM on board.
Absolutely. Anytime, reach out. I'm working with the other PMs at my current company for the same reason. I was one of the first associate PMs, and there are others joining. So yeah, happy to answer any questions you have.
Fantastic. Thank you.
I have a quick question for Sam. Hi, Sam, this is Sirisha.
Hi.
I'm also a newbie. I'm in this place where, I want to create a IDP or a development because, I know I'm associate or in a new product manager in my group. So what do you suggest or advise in having a roadmap? Like what do you see? Probably it'll be a product manager or, I don't know what's the vertical growth for you. So can you give an advice or, do you have a plan for the roadmap as a product manager?
It's a good question. Everyone's company and situation is unique, and my team is very unique even compared to the other squads within our group, because we're focused more on differentiating the product and thinking of ways we can do that, whether through features or communicating to users. There's a lot of ways, directions we could go. It's not like, oh, we have to fix this experience because we're getting feedback from current customers. It's more so, how can we further differentiate ourselves within the marketplace? So knowing that, it's a lot of research that goes into deciding what we want to prioritize, because there's so many things that we could do. So in that vein, it's been really fun, but also as a new PM in the space, applying that structure can sometimes be difficult because we're constantly exploring new ideas. And when you're doing research, that takes time, but you also want to move quickly. So I'm learning something new every day. And the roadmap has changed even since I joined a few months ago. But hopefully the next time I speak in front of you all, I'll be able to share how we were able to action off of some of the things that we're thinking about, and some of the work that I'm going to be doing interviewing these users hopefully will be one of those inputs into our roadmap.
Awesome. Thanks.
For the
All the very best.
Thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Sam. This is exciting. Can't wait to hear more. All right, and that brings us to our third speaker today, Cena Aip. Now, Cena began her journey as a software development engineer, and then she transitioned to business analyst and then product analyst to product management. What I find really intriguing about Cena is that she also has a background as a Scrum Master and Agile coach. Cena will be giving her icebreaker today, so please help me welcome Cena to the stage.
Okay, can everybody hear me, see my screen? Okay, cool. Thank you, Madam Toastmasters. So here we go. How many of you have seen the Disney movie Finding Nemo? Just put it in the chat. Okay, there you go. So I am a movie buff. I love watching Netflix. I love animated movies, Disney being my favorite. So Finding Nemo, just for people who have not seen it, the context is everything under the ocean. It's about a father and son who are clownfish, and how the father is so protective about the son that he doesn't let him do anything. He's shadowing everywhere. And this ends up the son taken away from him. And the story is about this father who goes out on this journey across the ocean in search of his son. I want to use this movie to bring out some themes that helped me enter into product management. And here it goes. So the first theme that I want to bring up from this movie is about teamwork. It's about how when the father starts his journey, he finds this one small fish who is not smart, who is not too attractive, who is kind of dumb, very forgetful. Her name is Dory, who helps him across the ocean, takes him through, is around him always and helps him out. This is the teamwork I'm talking about. There's a saying that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you have to go together. This is something that attracted me to a lot of things. When you're in a community, you find better solutions, you find better ideas. Take, for example, this Toastmasters. It's been a year and we are growing. It started with 2 ladies, and here we are now. It's something that attracted me to product management too. We as product managers are in between the tech, the designers, and business. We only bring pain points the consumers are feeling, but we work with people who are smarter than us to find solutions for better products. The second theme that I want to bring out is life is beyond your comfort zone. So as this father is trying to go in this journey, he finds out that there's a whole world outside his reef. There are fishes who are helping him out. There are sharks who are 150 years old. There are whales who are trying to move him forward. So this whole experience helps him grow, helps him expand in his journey. The curiosity to learn more, the curiosity to find more is something that attracted me to product management, where we get out of our team and think about how we are helping the business, how we have to work with sales, marketing, business, how we have to think beyond our company, look at market research, look at competitors, and look at what we are here to provide as products for humanity and for our consumers. So that's the other thing that attracted me to product management. And the third and final thing is about things when you go down. So when life takes you down, just keep swimming. So this is the motto of this movie, where the father, there are a lot of moments where he feels down, he wants to give up, and Dory being besides him helps him move forward. And this is something that happens for us as product managers too. Our hypothesis fails, our designs don't work, we are in a bad situation, but product managers are problem solvers. They are agile, they figure out how to move forward, how to learn from experiences, and how to make the product better. So this is another thing that I have been attracted to, finding community, finding support system, finding people who are besides you and guide you. And Toastmasters is another community that is added onto my list now. Just to conclude, the lessons I learned from Finding Nemo is teamwork is key, life is beyond your comfort zone, and when life gets tough, keep swimming. Thank you, Madam Toastmasters.
Thank you so much, Cena. I loved how you brought that movie and you were just able to bring it right into your story. So fantastic. Could we pause for 2 minutes and 30 seconds for written remarks from our evaluator? And again, we'd like to open the floor for questions from our audience.
Hey, this is Jennifer. I have a quick question. I'll kick us off here. So one of the things that I think is interesting in terms of your journey into product management and part of your introduction, I loved it. One thing that also kind of cued me in here is your past history around Agile and being a Scrum Master. How did that come into play also with some of your journey into product management and some of the topics that you talked about in your speech?
So my Agile journey started when my company was adopting Agile. So it was like we had product owners and Scrum Masters combined because there was no differentiation. So I did both for my team. And I found out that I was more attracted to product, where I was more attracted to why we are doing things and the problem statement rather than the whole process and project. I could do it, but it was more exciting to find what we are trying to accomplish here than the hows. So that's what led me back into product more deeply.
Awesome. Thanks.
Any other questions for Cena?
I'll ask one last one. So Cena, what is your product management dream? What is your end goal?
I have been debating on CPO roles, but then I'm still figuring out if that's good enough, like if that's worth the time and effort that is needed, but that's the end goal that I've been debating in the last 2 years. Yeah. Thank you, Lori.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Cena. All right, what a treat to hear from all three of our esteemed speakers today. The main theme that I'm hearing is that for all three speakers, they all use tenacity to build their product careers. I heard stay focused or stay curious, reach outside your comfort zone and work together. Teamwork goes further. So now we're going into our second round, table topics, and it will be hosted by Rishu Chanaka. Chana Keshava, Rishu. Rishu is a product manager at A1 Networks, and she has a background in telecommunications engineering. Rishu works with multi-cloud application delivery and security within the telecommunications architecture. It was really intriguing. Before I invite Rishu to take the stage, however, I want to remind everyone to send Amulya your vote for best table topics after the section is finished. And with that, I invite Rishu to take the stage.
Thank you, Sarah. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. So given that today's theme is personal to everyone in terms of what's your product management journey, I want to change the success criteria for table topics today a little bit and give you two things to consider as you come up with your responses to these impromptu questions. One is quickly organize and express your thoughts. Two, stay within the time allotted. And given that this is the time that you pause and reflect on what your journey has been as a speaker. So think about what you would do in terms of maybe command the room, lead with reflective notes, or influence to make a difference. So with that, here's my first question. What were some of your early mistakes as a young PM that you eventually corrected? And what did you learn about yourself? I'll repeat the question. What were some of the early mistakes as a young PM that you eventually corrected? And what did you learn about yourself? And I will be forwarding this question to Svetlana.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. That's a great question. I would say that one thing that early on was challenging, and I would love to say that I have fully corrected it, but it's probably still a work in progress. And that is the concept of over-communicating. Over-communicating to understand constraints and dependencies, over-communicating those constraints and dependencies, making sure that all your stakeholders know exactly, the challenges that you're facing, and over communicating the goals and milestones to make sure that everybody's on board in understanding sort of what's at stake and what the trade-offs are as you sort of have to have to be understanding and work across teams as your future is in the hands of many different people usually. And I think what I learned early on was that what makes that challenging for me is that I always felt, like I did not want to sort of over and assert myself. I did not want to overplay my sort of card in terms of asking people to do their jobs. And I think what I'm learning and what I continue to sort of work on as I go is that this is all of our jobs. It is to make sure that our our capacity is fully shared and understood, so that we're all kind of holding hands as we trek together toward shared goals and shared sort of common ground. So that would be mine. Over communicating.
Thank you, Svetlana. That was an excellent response. I think that's something that I have learned as well. I'm sure every product manager here can relate. Thank you. So my next question, what have been your top personal skills that you had to add to your toolkit to be a successful product leader? What have been your, and this is again specific, what have been your top personal skills that you had to add to your toolkit to be a successful product leader? And I understand successful is a journey. There is no end destination here. But having said that, I want to know what your top personal skills that you had to add to your toolkit. And I'll forward this question to Monique.
All right, thank you, Richu. So let's see. I think one of the top personal skills that I've had to add to my toolkit as a product manager was understanding which frameworks to use in each situation. When you're new and you're just reading a bunch of books, you're going to different meetup groups, trying to learn about product management. It's hard to know exactly like, when do I use this? When do I use that in these situations? So as I've spent more time as a product manager, I've started to learn a little bit better. Oh, this seems like a situation where, we need to do discovery first, or, whatever the tool I need to get out of my toolkit. But I think there's just a lot of different ways you can do things. And like, for example, when you're trying to figure out how to prioritize your backlog, especially when it feels like everyone is telling you that this is the #1 priority, you've got leadership telling you this, you've got your customers telling you that, using different frameworks to try and figure out how do we actually make those calls. I think that is something I just continue to work on, and I needed to add to my toolkit very quickly. Thank you, Richu.
Thank you, Monique. And that is very apt. Frameworks differ depending on what team and what company and what product you're working on, also what kind of people you're working with. So that's a great response. I want to go to the next question. What was one of your toughest moments as a product manager, product leader, and how did you approach it? What was one of your toughest moments as a product manager, and how did you approach it? I'll forward this question to Tanya.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. Can you repeat the question, please?
Absolutely, absolutely. What was one of your toughest moments, scenario as a product manager, and how did you approach it?
So I think transitioning from being an engineer to a product manager was tough in and of itself. And I was in the telecommunications business. And so it was very male dominated. I think that making that transition, to going to meetings with customers where there's literally 20 men in the room and me, I would text my husband and I would say 19 and me, or 25 and me. That was really hard. And how did I overcome it? By doing good work, by proving, that I belonged in the room, continuing to hone my skills, to stay on top of the latest in, what was happening in telecommunications. Always being able to stay in the conversation, and not letting, always pulling up to the table. I know that's a cliche, but, back 10, 15 years ago, it was different for women. right? So those are the things that I really had to not get over, but find a way to adapt and be tenacious and just stick with the plan, and everything was going to be okay. I think that's that in a nutshell. So back to you, Madam Table Topics Master. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. That was an excellent response, but more importantly, I think I relate. So I'm also in the telecom industry. I work for a vendor company. I know the company you work at, we are vendors to your company. So I can absolutely relate. In the last 10 years that I've been in this career, I have been the only woman in every room. And it's not fun, to say the least, to put it very simply. And there are so many other challenges, the nuances of it. I think I can go on talking about it, but for another day, thank you for bringing that up. I think I absolutely relate.
You're welcome. Thank you for the question.
Absolutely. On to the next question here. What is your why for choosing to be a product leader? What is your why for choosing to be a product leader? And I'll follow that question to Laurie. What is your why for choosing to be a product leader?
Thank you for that question, Madam Table Topics Master. For me, my why is kind of personal, goes with the speech I gave last week, but I've been in the situation where I've been thankful to see that a product mindset can be applied anywhere at any time. And in fact, by using my product management skills, I've literally been able to save my life in the hospital, like I talked about last time. And that why to me is so powerful, that literally just helping the people around me see the problem at hand, helping them understand the problem, as well as inspiring them to use a product mindset to help me solve the problem I want them to solve, is just so powerful. And that's really what keeps me going. And when you see somebody actually do that for themselves and they kind of see the power that it can have, and it inspires them to continue solving people's problems, it just like fuels me, and I love every second of it. Granted, there's challenges with this role, but that is the why that really keeps fueling me, is just inspiring other people to solve real problems that we all want to see solved in this world. So thank you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Laurie. That was a beautiful response and very much personal. We heard from you a couple of weeks ago, so thank you. My next question here. What was one of your euphoric moments as a product manager, product person, product leader? What was one of your euphoric moments? And it can be completely personal to you. It doesn't have to be about revenue and product and markets. And one of your euphoric moments as a product manager. And I'll forward this question to Jennifer, trying to find someone who hasn't spoken yet.
All right. Well, thank you for that question related to what was one of your euphoric moments as a product manager. I've been in product management for a long time, and I think most of you know I'm in the healthcare space. One of the things that is near and dear to my heart is applying technology, applying product management skills to help people, which is at the end of the day, you and me in the healthcare system, the actual patients. And I think one of the most euphoric moments is when I released a module within a greater product suite that was targeted at helping patients at discharge time to not have medication errors and things like that. And our first early adopter came back with some feedback that they were really, really astonished at how many medication errors they were able to see that our software prevented, just purely by way of having gone through beta testing, going through user analysis, really understanding the workflows that occur within an inpatient hospital setting of care. And that is one of the most astonishing things and, deeply heartfelt things, is to know you really did make an impact on people, right? You prevented medication errors. You helped to streamline the discharge process for sick people. And that means a lot to me. Thank you for that question. Back to you, Ritu.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Yep.
That's indeed a moment to celebrate. I think everyone here is enjoying that response. So thank you. I have one more question, and this is my last question. How has being a product manager, or how has being in the product team changed you as a person? And I know it's a journey, but again, how has it changed you as a person when you do some reflection upon how you were before and how you are today? And I'll forward that question to Amelia. Oh, you're the word counter, sorry. Sorry. Well, Amelia, take it away.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. I think becoming a product manager has made me a much more organized person in my personal life as well, and really makes me problem solve in a much more strategic way when it comes to really everything. When it comes to planning social events, when it comes to organizing my bedroom, really when it comes to the daily tasks that I encounter, I find myself just taking a step back and applying some of the frameworks and strategies that I've learned as a product manager to go about solving these problems. I don't think they will necessarily produce the best results for every possible situation, but I do think it's really interesting to see how it's just allowed me to find a lot more peace and organization in my personal life as well. It's really also taught me to value time management. I find that to be a crucial area of really becoming an effective product manager. And I find myself really trying to practice and be very intentional about time management in my personal life as well. So I think it's made me a much more organized person, someone who really values their time and is trying to be as intentional with it as possible.
Yeah, that's a great point to bring out, Amelia. I think I've also learned that valuing your time and others' time, and organizing yourself and helping other people organize their time and value is also something that, it goes as an extension once you become a product leader. So those are some great points. Thank you, Amelia. Back to you, Madam Toastmasters. That was the last question for the day.
Thank you so much, Rishu. And thank you to all our participants for joining our table topics round. It can be tough to think on our feet, but it's such an important skill to practice. A reminder to please send your vote to Amelia for best table topics. And before we move on, I just wanted to make a point of correction. I believe that I said that Ritu worked at A1 Networks, and point of correction, she works at A10 Networks. So my mistake, please accept my apologies on that. All right, so now we will move on to our third and final portion of our meeting. Before I do that, just wanted to do a final roundup for our table topic speaker today. Thank you, Lori, for putting that into the chat, because I was taking notes and didn't know who said what. So our table topics participants today are Svetlana, Monique, Tanya, Lori, Jennifer, and Amelia. There we go. Thank you so much. So now we can move on to our third and final portion, the evaluation round. We've heard from her earlier today, but we're going to hear from her again. Jennifer Ginsberg will be our general evaluator. Now, from what I see on LinkedIn, she started her journey as a senior business analyst. Then she moved into product owner and then senior product manager. Before Jennifer transitioned into a director role, Well, she's currently Vice President of Business Solutions of Product Management at AIM Specialty Health. And what I was trying to say is before that, she was a director. So very impressive and inspiring background. And with that, I invite Jennifer to take the stage.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah, Madam Toastmaster. So as the general evaluator, I'm going to call on my team to provide different evaluations for folks that have spoken today. And we'll start first with speaker evaluations. We'll start with Tanya. If you could please come to the stage and provide an evaluation on Marguerite's speech, if you would. So could we get Marguerite spotlighted here? Awesome, thank you.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Show of hands, how many can relate to Marguerite's speech today? I did. I bet most of our stories don't begin with starting out as a product manager. So right from the start, you had us engaged with a relatable intro. You know, we all, what did I want to be when I was growing up? I actually can't remember, but great job on the intro. It caught me thinking right from the start. Your speech was really, I felt, conversational. It was relaxed. It was direct, and you were centered in the frame. You looked right in the camera the whole speech, so it was a really nice improvement from last time. You also used more hand gestures, which I know was something you wanted to work on. But when you weren't officially gesturing, your hands stayed in the frame and they were a little bit distracting to me. So my only suggestion there would be, if you're not planning to gesture, I would just maybe put your hands down on your lap, or because they were right here and your fingers were, it was just a little bit distracting. That was all, but it's hard to do with this whole frame thing. So I really like the way that your story was unique. All of our stories are unique. And you started, like I said, with what you want to be when you grow up. And then you talked about your first job. During the 2.5 minutes of the eval time, when I'm taking notes, I would have liked to ask you, you know, what skills from your non-product management job as an editor do you think parlayed into your first product management role? I also would love to know more about how you felt that transition was. You know, was it easy? Was it difficult? So these are just a couple of things that, if you were going to to revise the speech, or if you're going to give it again, subsequent versions, I would maybe make it just a bit more personal. And that would be, just a couple of personal touches thrown in here and there. Otherwise, I thought it was an awesome job. Thank you for sharing your story. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you for that evaluation, Tanya. All right, next I'm going to call on Svetlana. Svetlana was the evaluator for, I want to say, Sam Doctor.
Great. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. And Sam, thank you for your excellent speech. I found it to have really great vocal variety. Your conversational style, which is very personal to you, really came through, and I fully appreciate it. When you made eye contact with the camera and the audience, I thought it was very effective, and your personality always comes through when you do that. I also want to reflect on the passion and excitement, your enthusiasm for laying your path. Really, I felt reinvigorating my own, plans for my career, and I think it did the same thing for your audience. I would say that as an extension of the strength that you have in terms of connecting with your audience and being conversational, bringing people in to your storytelling, for this very reason, when you do look off at your notes, especially when that happened at the opening, you lose a little bit of that audience connection. And so what I would suggest is, when using notes, which we all do pretty often, is to actually almost put your notes in line with the camera somehow, because that way it helps you sort of modulate your your eye contact with the audience and your notes. And it makes it a little bit easier to not lose your spot. Something else that I've gotten feedback on that I'll remind us about where we can. Sometimes it might help to even have your notes printed out. And I would just say that to challenge yourself even further, I would add a little bit more structure to the first part of your speech, because your plan forward, right? Your plan for customer research and what you're going to do next was really well laid out, but you spent a lot of time sort of setting the stage, which I fully enjoyed. But I think it would make, a limited sort of a speech that has to fit into a limited time frame even more effective if you made that journey part of your speech slightly shorter, summarize that, and then moved into your plan for your research and your next steps, so that you would have a little bit of more time at the end to recap that for us as well. But otherwise, I just thought it was a fantastic speech, great idea for a speech, and best of luck to you. I'm so excited for your journey and hope to be on the panel for all your progress. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you for that evaluation, Svetlana. And out of our last speaker evaluations, I'd like to introduce Sarisha, who evaluated Cena's icebreaker speech.
Thanks,
Sarisha?
Jennifer. Thanks,
All right.
Jennifer. Can you hear me fine?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Cena, that was such a great speech, and thank you for that. And I'm happy that I'm giving my first evaluation speech with yours, because it was an easy one for me. Thank you for making my job easy today. From the get-go, I was able to identify yourself, because when Sarah was introducing you, I thought she was introducing me, because I did the same exact thing. I'm an agile coach, I'm a scrum master, so I was able to relate to your introduction as well. I love the analogy. It conveys the message. It's simple, it's fun. I feel like I can take this and I can present this to my second grader, and I can make him understand what a gist of product management is about. You excelled in the content, how you presented. It was fun and engaging. I love your tone, speed, and volume, and also the eye contact. I haven't seen the gestures so much. Sorry if I didn't catch that. Maybe, I think that was one of the feedbacks that I got, like, to use your gestures and, frame yourself in, in this virtual setting. But otherwise, it was good. And coming to the portion, what you want to work on and challenge yourself, I felt like I just saw an amazing movie trailer. And I want to see more. I want to I want to go to this movie in theaters, right? So I could tell you have this passion, you're fun, and Finding Nemo, that's my favorite movie, right? So all I want to say is I want to see more. I want to know more about your personality. You can maybe extend this in your future speeches, but overall, awesome icebreaker speech, and thank you. And hoping to see more great speeches like this. Thank you. Over to you, Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Sarisha. And thank you for all of the evaluations and the times that the three of you guys put together in this. I know our speakers greatly appreciate the feedback as well. So next, I'd like to call on my other extended team of grammarian, who has been helping us to look at great phrases, things of that nature. So Rosie, if you could come up, and then since you're going to already be on stage, I'm going to flip it around a little bit. And if you could also do the timing aspect after you walk us through the grammarian readout as well. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome. Yeah, so I may have missed many of you all who use the word tenacious or tenacity, but I did catch that Marguerite used it, and so did Sarah. In terms of the speeches, I did love how you all brought in new words. I would have loved to have seen more like product related words, but overall great speech use on grammarian. And then for time, let's see. Marguerite was for her first speech for the speaker role was at 5 minutes and 26 seconds, so within the time frame. Sam was over 20 seconds, so 7 minutes and 20 seconds. Cena just missed the minimum by 2 seconds. She was at 3 minutes and 58 seconds. For table topics, Svetlana, 2 minutes and 2 seconds, so just over time frame. Monique, 1 minute and 25. Tanya, 1 minute and 58. Lori, 1 minute and 26 seconds. Jennifer, 1 minute and 24 seconds. And then Amelia, 1 minute and 20 seconds. And then the evaluations, Tanya was at 2 minutes and 19 seconds, so within the time frame. Svetlana was at 2 minutes and 45 seconds, also within time frame. And then Siri just missed the minimum by 10 seconds. She was at 1 minute and 50 seconds. Awesome. And then back to you, Jennifer.
Thank you for that very thorough report, Rosie. And last but not least, I'm going to ask Monique to come and give us the counter report, if you could, Monique.
Thank you so much, Madam General Evaluator. The crutch word of the day was to dive into everyone's specific count. Starting with Erica, you had over 5 ums, a so, an and. Sarah, I noticed 2 ahs, 2 ums, a so. Jennifer got just over 5 ums, so, and 1 so. Rosie caught a few ahs, over 5 ums. Marguerite, about 5 ums, 1 so. Sam, an 5 ums, 2 so's, a couple of ands. Cena, 2 ahs, so repeat, 2 ands. Richu, 3 ahs, over 5 ums, 5 so's. Amelia, I caught an Svetlana, over 5 ahs, over 5 ums, a repeat and an and. Tanya, let's see, over 5 ums, a so, 2 repeat and over 5 you knows. Lori, a couple of ums and a but. And Sharisha caught just over 5 ahs and ums. So thank you everyone today. Just keeping an eye on those crutch words that I know I say as well. So there you go. Back to you, Jennifer. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Monique. All right, so as far as General Evaluator is concerned, I'm going to go ahead and talk about some of the observations that I made during this meeting and areas where we might improve as a club, and then I'll kind of wrap it up. So first and foremost, I want to say a big, huge thank you again to Lori Edwards. Today, I think we had an SAA who was supposed to be designated. Unfortunately, that person was unable to show up. And so Lori, having the account information for the Toastmaster Zoom account, just jumped right in. Thank you at that last minute save for helping us fill that SAA role. I think that also delayed us a little bit and we also had to find other people to jump in and help with other roles as well. So those individuals, Rosie doing double time as timer, and then as a last minute add for Sarisha, thank you also for evaluating as well. It's one of those things that I really appreciate about the women in this group, that we're willing and able to jump in at the last minute to help each other out and get the party started and keep the party going. And it is heartfelt in terms of just, I appreciate that. I also want to encourage people, we see these things happen at the last minute. We're more than happy to cover for other people, but also I would like to take this opportunity to remind people, if you're unable to make it, you see the ripple effect to other people at the last minute. And it's something that we don't want to do to each other, but I also appreciate that when people do step up. Okay. So I just want to make sure everybody understands, yeah, we count on each other in this group. right? We really do. So I want to thank everybody for that as well. The other thing that I want to say that was just great, I really appreciated Richu's questions for table topics today. I thought they were really thoughtful. I thought they were great and very to the point and really touched on the theme of today. So I thought you did a great job as well, table topics master, Richu. Couple of other areas where we could potentially change, and I'll take this on even as a secretary myself. I do believe I need to publish out these agendas a little bit earlier and get that into the hands of the Toastmasters so that we can have speech titles populated a little bit earlier. And all the speakers themselves, like having the actual speech title really helps to anchor in and give everybody in the meeting a preview of what you're going to be talking about. And it also gives a table topics master, I'm sorry, not table topics master, but the Toastmaster of the day, the ability to also be able to give that speech title as part of the introduction. The other thing that I also wanted to point out here is as part of gifts and greats is I think our evaluators today did a fantastic job. Each and every one of our speech evaluators sandwiched their evaluations talking about, hey, here's what you did great. Here are things that like really resonated with you as the evaluator, gave tangible feedback to each of the speakers that they could actually take away. And even I myself listening to those evaluations was also thinking about what are some things that I myself can do to improve my own speaking. So I thought that was well done on behalf of the different evaluators that spoke today. And then also wrapping up your evaluations with another positive remark, right? So sandwiching that feedback giving is a gift. And so doing that effectively helps each other and helps this club overall. So I thought today was a really, really good day. I also thought our grammarian and my odd counter and timers were spot on in terms of being super detailed. And that helps all of us grow as a club and as an organization and individuals as well. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone today. I thought we did a really good job. And just, I appreciate everybody in this club. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to our table topics. No, I'm sorry, our Toastmaster of the day, Sarah. If you could.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Thank you for your thorough report and those in your stellar team who also provided phenomenal feedback for us. Before we go any further, I'd like to call on Emilio to give us the results from the table topic vote counter. Amelia.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster. I am very happy to announce that Tanya got the most votes today for Best Table Topics Response. So congratulations, Tanya.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I thought all the answers were great, by the way. So fantastic job.
Awesome. Awesome. Congrats, Tanya. Well, what a fantastic set of speeches and evaluations today. And I really loved how our topic, your product management story, was present across so many of the responses. My call to action, whether you're already in product and you're looking to advance or you're an aspiring product professional, is to write your own story. If you don't like the one you have, try to rewrite it. In the words of Tony Robbins, change your story, change your life. As an aside, as Jennifer mentioned, I'd like to thank those who stepped up and took some roles that were vacant today. And according to the agenda here, it appears that I'm to call the VPE Lori Edwards to the stage. So Lori, it looks like you have some announcements, if I'm not mistaken.
I think I'm going to pass it to Erica first to talk to our guests.
Thank you, Erica.
Thank you. What a great meeting today. Thank you so much, Sarah, for your leadership. Always excellent. And the speakers table topics was great. All the answers were great. Had a really fun time today. Tiffany, we want to thank you for joining us again. And ask for a little bit of feedback, although I know we've asked you already a couple times, but hope you had a good time today. And if there was anything in particular that you would like to share about your product story.
Sure, thank you, Erica. It's always so inspiring to hear everyone's journey into product management, because I think there's just so much diversity into how we wound up in this job function. And I feel as though there's even more diversity in the journeys than there is in the products out there. My personal story is I'm a fairly recent graduate from college, graduated in 2020, right into the pandemic, woo, from process or chemical engineering. I've had a variety of internship experience, from technical writing to agile coaching. I've always seen myself as a generalist, which I guess is code name for I don't really know what I want to do with my life, so I need to figure my shit out, my stuff out. And product management is something I heard of while in my, I believe, second or third year in university. Unfortunately, I had an opportunity to take on a product management internship, but I chose instead to take an offer for a process engineering position, just to have that final validation point of, is chemical engineering really what I want to do with my life or no? And I'm both happy and sad to report that chemical engineering was not in my future. When I graduated, I found this position as a project coordinator. Once I joined the company, I don't know if I seemed annoying to my coworkers, but I asked a lot of questions about, why are we doing this and why are we not doing that? What are customers saying? Can you give my team, my DevOps team, feedback about how our last release went? And I eventually pitched myself to have a product manager role. Right now, I'm working towards that role in 1-2 years. I've pitched myself a title of product operations coordinator, and I'm really excited. I read a ton about product management. I sort of browse through women in product on Facebook religiously, maybe too religiously, and it's just such a fun field to be in, and I'm so excited and so inspired by everyone in this group. So thank you all so much for sharing your stories and your experiences.
Thank you, Tiffany, and thank you for sharing yours. I hope we become part of your product journey. All right. Without further ado, I'm going to hand it back to Lori, and just a reminder that we'll be here for questions after the meeting if you'd like to stay around.
Thank you, Erica. So I'm going to post next week's roles in the chat so everyone can see them. Sharisha, you're going to be our Toastmaster. I know you've been dying to do that role for a while, so next week's your time to shine. If you have any, I'll send you an email after this with some like pro tips and stuff that we got, so don't be scared. We're here to help. And then the last thing is I'm going to put also the form to either sign up for roles and tell me what you'd like to do in our upcoming meetings, or better yet, tell us if you can't come, so then I don't assign you a role and we have to find a replacement. So we're always happy to move things around, but it's just easier, honestly, if you can let us know that you won't be there. The other thing in Erica's announcements is you will see that we canceled the meeting on May 8th. That is Mother's Day. We agree that it's important that you go spend time with your families. And it also helps us avoid other holidays later in the year. So that is why we're canceling that meeting. All right, that's all I got. Go ahead.
Quick thing. So I sent, I couldn't find Cena to provide the evaluation form to her. So I sent to you, Lori and Jennifer.
Okay.
I couldn't find her in the share people. So
Perfect. I will, one, we can make sure she's on the drive. And two, I can forward that on to her for you. Awesome.
And Lori, what's the best way to let you know we won't be there for a meeting?
Great question, Svetlana. The best way is to, at the bottom of this form that I just shared, there is a little question that literally asks, will you not be at any of these meetings? And you can put in the date there, or you can email me. Either way is fine. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. Don't hesitate to let us know. Or if you have questions, happy to help. All right, everyone. Oh, I'm the SSA today. I also get to wrap this up and close it out. Cool. All right. Well, it's 11:30. Everyone go enjoy the rest of your weekends and have a great week. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Happy Sunday. Bye.